Okay. I want to finish off with one more point here about Hanukkah and about what's going on now. I don't know how many people follow the news, but I've been davening for the past 5 weeks in the Old City. Week before actually, there was a young man killed, in the Old City. K, right? What's his name? His last name was K, from South Africa, right? And he was shot dead and walking in the Old City. There was another person there who was also shot at. The bullets apparently went into his tefillin and saved him. Yeah, but I was contacted by a woman on Friday it was, and she asked me the following question. She said her son was learning in yeshiva in Denver, Colorado, and his chavrusa was murdered there in El. This happened in El. Just 5 Bir Yonim, 5 thugs came. They came into yeshiva, they shot the guy dead, and whatever, they tried to do more damage, they weren't successful, and they left. What can we get from this? She asked me, what does Hashem want from us after all this? Okay, I'm not going to answer that question today. Maybe we'll speak about it at a different time. He was named Silverberg, Shmuley Silverberg. Yeah, 18-year-old bacher in Denver, a very, very chashuv bacher. Yeah, and we hear this story now, and this story, and this story, and Meiron. So many things going on. What does Hashem want from us? So I'm just gonna give Roshei Prakim. I'm not gonna speak about it, too much now. But Lamaisa, we have to know the following. Yeah, Hashem is constantly trying to wake us up, right? In all of Hanukkah, and the idea of Nes and Hanukkah is to wake us up, right? I saw Rev in a certain sefer, Schwartz, Rav Yoel Schwartz, who has maybe 100 svarim written. Right? He asked the following question. In Ma'at Tzur, we mention all the Gulas Yisrael. Right? We mention Purim, we mention Mitzrayim, we mention Bavel. Right? He says, what's going on here? Why don't we just keep it to Hanukkah? Right? Why do we have to mention all of them? She says a very, very big, important point over here. Right? He says like this. He says, when a person is inspired, right? Yeah, we have Ma'at Tzur, we mentioned the Mikdash, we mentioned right, Paro, Mitzrayim, Kates Bavel, right, etc. Right? He says when a person is inspired, you have to thank Hashem for everything, because we live in, as we said, darkness. We live in darkness. We forget. Our eyes don't see, and we just get used to all the good things that we have all the time. So whenever a person is moved, right, that's the time when you have to make a change in your life. Right? I said, if you were moved by what happened, it was your son's chavrusa who was killed. Yeah, you have to act on that. You have to do something and make some minor change in your life, preferably something which relates, to what happened. Whatever it might be, look into your life and make a change. And this is the whole idea of Nes, of Hanukkah, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu shaking up the world. All these times, anything these happen. On Hanukkah, we have a special mitzvah of Adlavas Neros and the Or of Hanukkah. The Or of Hanukkah is meant to show us that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu has shaken us up, which is what happened, it was a Milchama. The whole Klal Yisrael was almost destroyed. Yeah, at the time of Yavin, it was almost all over. Right? Hashem saved us with an ace. Right? Whenever we get shaken up, right, which should really be all the time. Right? Why are we called Charedim? Right? Where does Charedim come from? Right? Charedim and Chilonim. Right? The word Chilonim, I don't like that the word so much. Right? In my sefer at Tkanas Hashem, I try not to use it if possible. Right? Chilonim was made up by the Chilonim. It means Ish Zar. Right? So on the outside. Right? We're Chiloni. There's a story. Right. There's a story with Rav Shimshon Pincus. He was at the Koisel on one of these national holidays, and the siren went off, and he just kept business as usual. He didn't do anything. So a guy said, why don't you stop? He said, Tim, why do you keep Shabbos? He said, because I'm Chiloni. He said, I'm also Chiloni. I don't believe in that. So, so what's a Chiloni? There's no such thing as a Chiloni. Right? It's Jews who are, right, to say not yet observant. Right? I was at the Koisel this Shabbos. There were 2 guys, really long hair, and I went up to them, I spoke to them. Right? Hey, a little bit of a shayla. I told them my email, and they wrote it down on their iPhone to write a tshuva about that. But Lamaisa, right? I once asked Rav Noach Weinberg, I said, how are you so successful? I'm incredibly successful in career. He said, I look at every guy with long hair as the future Gadol Hador. Yeah? a future gadol hador, and that's it. Every Jewish neshama has a possible to come back, and everybody in their life is given a light to wake up and think. And we have to look as much as possible to look for those lights in our own life, and if we're shaken up, to be shaken up. Chanukah is meant to shake us up. Thinking about the Nisim, it's supposed to realize nothing goes as teva, nothing goes natural. Everything we're seeing is darkness. Nothing you see in this world is really what's really going on. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Right? You see tables, you see chairs, you see buildings, you see lights. It's nothing to do with the reality of the situation. Everything is much, much deeper. Kadosh Baruch Hu should make us matzliach, successful, that this Hanukkah should help us to see things clearer. We should get beyond the choshech of this world. As we said, think about what the Ramchal said here in Ad Mamoram, that the fact that science and teva, if it's taken literally, that's the way the world runs, that it could fool us. Think about the fish with the light at the bottom. It's a example for us that wherever there's light. Think about HaKadosh Baruch Hu as much as possible. Rav Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld used to walk around like this all the time. Except on Shabbos. So I asked, what are you doing? He said, I'm writing Shvis Hashem. They can tell me. He used to write the Shem Hashem all the time. Yeah. On Shabbos he was Choshev, it was Kosev. He didn't write it. So, but whatever you could do to keep Hashem in your life, to daven and to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, perceive Him at all times, it's a tremendous, tremendous mile. That's the way we're supposed to be living our life. Hashem should help us. That Hanukkah should help do that. Yeah, when the Levush says, when you light the menorah, b'yamim mehem b'zman hazeh, he's saying it's talking about the nisim nistarim. B'yamim mehem nisim negluim, b'zman hazeh nisim nistarim. To recognize the Kodesh Baruch Hu, everything we do, nothing is for granted. Everything is incredibly deep, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu is running the world with infinite wisdom. Hashem should help us see it. Amen.